pain-free, prescription-free, and bursting full of energy. Do those words describe you? Would you like them to? They have been my motto for almost 6 years, and let me explain why. 1 week after I turned 60 years old, my 86-year-old mom passed away. Now, I miss my mom every day. She was a fun lady, and I really miss our phone calls. But what I don't miss is I don't miss how much pain that she was in and how many different types of medications she tried to alleviate that pain. Growing up with my 5 siblings, we really weren't allowed to get sick. If we weren't feeling well, my mom would just say, just get up, get going, work through it, you're going to feel better. And that was her philosophy, and that's what she lived. In fact, I don't ever remember either my mom or my dad taking off work because they were sick. Even though my mom had had a couple surgeries, pretty major ones throughout her life, like a hysterectomy and a mastectomy for breast cancer, she never wanted any attention or pity. She just didn't have time for it. She had a household of 6 kids, and she was the first full-time working mom in our neighborhood. In fact, when I was little, people would comment on how clean my mom's house was. And I remember being so puzzled because I'd hear people say, your mom's floors are so clean you could eat off of them. And I'd think, who would want to eat off our floor? Didn't make sense to me. My mom was also the queen of ironing. Now, she ironed everything from pillowcases to her bras. And this was the other fun thing she was known for. I just have to share this with you. When she'd take the clothes out of the dryer, she would lay them out on the table and take a Pepsi bottle. That was her drink of choice. She would fill the Pepsi bottle up about halfway and put her finger over the top of the bottle and then sprinkle down every item of clothing. If it was a shirt or even a t-shirt, she sprinkled it with water and then she rolled them up and put them in a heavy-duty plastic bag, and then she would put them in the freezer. I know, it sounds crazy, but she ironed everything and she worked full-time, so she didn't have time to iron right away. So then on the nights that she got home from work, and she would work the late shift, so she'd get home at midnight, she would stand at her ironing board and iron her clothes. My mom wanted her home and her family to just look perfect, and we did. I share these facts to point out that I never ever thought that my mom would get sick. I knew that she'd grow old, but I didn't ever think that she'd get sick. And for most of my married life, I lived across the country from my parents and my siblings. And when I'd go back home to visit, I started to recognize the signs of my parents aging. I think it's because I wasn't around them all the time, so I could see these big dips in their health. It was when my mom entered her 7th decade that I saw the greatest decline in her health. It was her back that gave her a lot of problems, and that's when she began some prescription protocols that she would live with for the remainder of her life. After my dad passed away, my mom moved into an assisted living facility so that helped managing her medications. By now, the side effects of many of her meds were causing issues, so she kind of had to take other medications just to help with the medications that she was already on. My siblings and I all participated in her care until the very end. And during the last 15 months or so of her life, my husband and I were in a position to relocate to her city. In fact, we moved into her house so that she wouldn't have to sell it. She kept saying, I'm not going to be here in assisted living very long. I am going to move back home. And I'm sharing this with you because I had to let her think that that was going to happen. I had to let her have that hope that that was going to work out for her. Ironically, she never ever did even go back to her home. My sisters and I were the ones that would take mom to her doctor's appointments, and we each had a different doctor that be in charge of. My assignment was to take her to her primary care physician. Now, each time that I visited this physician, She and I would sit down and go through literally the 3 pages of my mom's medications. And the doctor kept trying to pare down medications to eliminate just more capsules and pills. I mean, she was taking things like vitamin D, and we knew she really didn't need that, and other things. So that was one of our main focuses, was to get her off of some of her meds. A couple of days after she passed away, I had to fly across country to help my son. During that time, we were planning her funeral. When I got back home and the day of the funeral arrived, I had like this awful cold, and I thought I was getting bronchitis. I could barely give the talk at her funeral, and I don't even remember who was there. I remember going home though and feeling like I just want to crawl into bed. I just didn't feel good. And it was so ironic because I'm sure my mom would have said, just get up and just go and you're going to feel better. My mom's passing though was my wake-up call. Because I wasn't feeling great, I did not want that to be the beginning of my end. I did not want to be dependent on prescriptions. And that's when I came up with my motto: to be pain-free, prescription-free, and bursting full of energy. And I've been able to accomplish that in, as I said, almost 6 years. Soon after my mom's death, I connected with a friend who had been on a really good health protocol. I was pretty much close-minded to it, and now I was thirsty. I needed this. And during the last 6 years, I've only missed like 2 or 3 days of using this really high-tech formula. During that time, I've only taken maybe 3 pain relievers, like Aleve. Before that, I lived on pain relievers. I used to get super bad headaches. So I realized that that was my first step in taking control of my health. Now, there have been other things too, and I'll be sharing those here in these videos. When some of my friends complain about some of their ailments, they'll look at me and they'll say, just wait until you get my age. You're going to have this happen. And I just hate to tell them that I'm even older than they are. Now, I do want to make it really clear that I am not anti-prescription. I am not anti-drug. I realize that we live in a day and age of modern medicine. People are living great lives now because of the research and the development. Prescribed drugs keep many people comfortable and alive. What I am determined to do is to use all my personal power with my daily choices and my lifestyle to ward off some of these diseases, to build my cells, to build my muscles, to build my bones. If I can live a pain-free, prescription-free, and a life full of boundless energy, I would really want to live to be 100. Now, I don't have a goal of living to be a certain age. I think we all will go when it's our time to go. But I do have a target that I want to be healthy and happy every day of my life. And I know that it's really hard to be happy if we're not healthy. I invite you to join me regardless of your health, or maybe your not so health status. I didn't have a wake-up call until I was 60. It's not too late to make these small and simple changes, and I've made many more along the way. But I believe that these little hacks that we do on a regular basis will make a huge difference in our health. I invite you to join me to subscribe here to this channel and or to read my blogs. This is regardless of the health that you have, or maybe you're not so healthy. You know, I didn't have a wake-up call until I was 60. And it doesn't matter if you're 70 or 75. Come along, hop on to my Happy 100 Highway, and I'll show you the small hacks that I had, the little hacks that have developed into habits, and then they became routine, and now they are my rituals. And I'm going to teach you some of these. So are you ready to come along? Invite a friend or two to come along on our Happy 100 Highway. You are going to have much better health, and you will be happier.